Hi there, and welcome to the show where I get my friend to experience something he's never experienced before. My name's Lee. I am a host in this, and John tried to talk too much, but
did.
he is my friend John.
Here I am. I'm just so excited to speak
He's very excited today.
every week. Can't wait. Just vomit my thoughts that I do
Yep.
every week. Yeah, no, I'm glad to be back, Lee.
Yeah, it's
Thank
been
you.
good.
Thank you for putting me through another thing.
Yeah.
I didn't actually mind it this week, though.
Oh, good. I was going to ask.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Oh, I'm really glad.
Yeah.
I should tell people what we're...
Yes, so Lee asked me to watch a few episodes of a very beloved anime called Cowboy Bebop.
Yes. Which may or may not be airing today as a live action thing.
Yes, yeah, that's the other thing as well, isn't it?
I thought it was a good time to give you
Marvelous.
a crackdown on Cowboy Bebop.
Absolutely, because after I watched it, I went and searched it, because I remember you told me in the initial message that you were gonna excuse me, that you were gonna get me to watch Cowboy Bebop because you wanted to get it out in time for the live the live thing, and I was just like, I don't know what that means. So then after I watched it, I searched it. They're doing a live action version of it.
Yeah.
I've not watched the trailer yet. I will now at some point in the near future.
Well, I mean, it's out today, so you might as well just skip the trailer and
I may as well, exactly, and just watch it. I mean, are you optimistic for it?
honestly, it could be a mess, but the same music director's behind it.
That's good.
Which adds a lot if you notice you've watched the anime.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
The Lost episode they made, like, was a little trailer, it was like 2 minutes long. It had like a little just scene going on. That was really cool.
Yeah.
It could be a tire fire, but it looks like it's going to be fun, no matter what.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we'll never know until we watch it, I suppose. But no, my first exposure to this, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Very happy to hear that.
Yes.
Cowboy Bebop it's one of them things that a lot of people consider as their kind of gateway to anime. It's one of them things that doesn't feel like anime. Like,
No.
you think anime, you think like really weird, like Japanese stuff. This one's like heavily influenced in like Western.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was very familiar territory, really. I mean, the first thing that I noticed about it was it's visual storytelling.
Yeah.
Which you and I are obviously quite big on as concepts. Was something that I first noticed about it. So the opening of like the first episode was like this flash of like these cutaways of like, you know, like a tragedy of some sort, with like, you know, like the flat, like the roses and the guns and the glass and all that sort of stuff, and the chimey children, like music box thing in the background. I was just like, oh, this is something that's going to pay off a little bit later on, I think. I'm immediately intrigued. The music.
Oh God, the music.
Good Lord. It's the opening theme is just fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It just incredible, you know. And I was just listening to it, and then of course when you get to the end credits as well, which you told me to stick through and not skip it on Netflix as well.
Because I thought Netflix might have tried to skip it, but I was like, please just watch it.
Well, they do try to skip through, but there's an option where you can just like sit and watch the credit. Again, the ending credits are great as well.
Oh, the Real Folk Blues is such a good song.
So it's a great song, you know. It's great song. The attention to detail in the songs, just it screams. One of the things that I loved about the show was like it screams personality.
Yeah.
You know, and you can hear that not only through obviously the characters, which we'll talk about, but the music. It was that, you know, you immediately know what you're getting into in that opening theme, and it's perfectly backlogged by the like bookended rather by the closing credit song as well. But what another thing that I really loved about it is it's because obviously the title, Cowboy Bebop. It's what is that in reference to? Obviously, the cowboy bit is
Cowboys. Yeah, it's space cowboys.
Space cowboys, basically.
It's mainly it's a western in space. That's what you can describe.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. That was, and the bebop side of it is
just jazz. Just like it's a collection of like just a collection of music and stuff. That's how the series goes as well. There's episodes that are sad, episodes that are like insane, episodes that like.
Absolutely
bounce off each other like that. It's bebop. It's bebop.
It's all over the shop, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Perfect title then, in a sense, really. I mean, because when you look at it, you think like, what the hell's that about? But then when you break it down like that, it kind of makes perfect sense. But yes, it's a western in space, but also from the music, you get the impression that there's going to be a lot of. I mean, obviously it's in reference to jazz and stuff like that, but it felt like a lot like a noir as well.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of reference to like film noir in there as well, which I adore.
Yeah.
I adore film noir, and obviously I'm really big on westerns as well, because like they're such rich. You know, it's a rich genre for character building, and for tension and for storytelling. It's really great. And you absolutely get that. You really get that in this show. Even from like the opening episode, it's like like two bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Who would immediately, great concept, space bounty hunters going around looking, because I think a lot of people's exposure to that is like the first thing is like think of as like Boba Fett and stuff like that from Star Wars, but it's but it plays a bit more with that concept. They're not just cold-hearted, like killers, like they're people with personalities, like, and it's and the main characters, it's Spike and Jet, Spike and Jet, of course. Like a great chemistry between the two of them. You get the impression that they've done this for a while, just by the way that they speak to each other, and also from what they do in their day-to-day life. And that's what I love about it, is it's proper storytelling.
Yeah.
It's not where you get it the perspective of like the characters have to explain who they are in order for the audience to get what they are.
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, Jack, we've been doing this for years now, and you're really annoying. It's like, no, you get that from the fact that he's cooked a meal, bell peppers and beef, and there's no beef.
Yeah.
and he's like, well, how can you call it bell peppers and beef? And you get the impression that they've had this argument many times. And when he goes out on his journey in his own private ship, and he's whistling, it's like, it's routine.
Yeah.
It's routine. You get the impression that, that this is something that they're comfortable with. It's great storytelling. And, the whole thing about, they get their information from like a little like novelty, like TV show thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's like, this is who's wanted this week or whatever, which I thought was really fun. And even just tackling like normal things like like drug deals and things like that. It's like the guy with the red eye, and the fact that his pregnant girlfriend isn't actually spoilers, by the way, but like
spoilers for a 20-year-old.
Spoilers for a 20-odd-year-old anime. And that was another thing as well. I didn't realize it was from like, I gathered from like the aspect ratio.
Yeah.
But it was 1998 exactly, and that's I'm older than this cartoon. Or this anime rather, I should say. Really, actually, that's a question. Are people quite contentious about calling it a cartoon over an anime?
Is Western, but anime is just Japanese for animation.
Fair.
So
yeah.
Everything's animated. Like, if a Japanese person would talk about The Simpsons, they would refer it as an anime because
because
animation.
Because animation,
yeah.
Right? Okay, cool. So it's
but anime just became a placeholder for specifically Japanese stuff in the West.
That makes total sense. Because it's easier to like. Well, it's fairly obvious what it is.
Yeah.
When you see it, it's like, this is very obviously a Japanese style animation. But anyway, it was the whole thing about the pregnant girlfriend not really being pregnant, she's like smuggling just a bunch of them, but and that's a thing as well. The every time it was a new episode, it was a new story.
Yeah.
It was so it really, you did get that serialized like feel, where it's not, because I think so many things today are they all have these continuous storylines going through them.
Well, you would have noticed with Bebop, there's an overarching thing.
There is an overarching.
There's a lot of in between. Of
it's
like
like
stuff happening.
Exactly.
Normal.
It's no, I know what you mean though. It's like this week, this is what the bounty hunters are dealing with now. It adds that sense of that this is a lived-in world.
Yeah.
And it adds so much more to the world building.
That's what I like about the world building. They just mentioned like, Tijuana. Okay, we're going to Tijuana. It's an asteroid.
Yeah, exactly. or even like in the first episode when Spike is talking to the woman.
Yeah.
And she said like, "Oh, you're from Mars?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." I was born and raised on Mars or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, you get the impression that like, obviously this is in the near future when the human race has colonized the solar system. You know, because in a later episode you see Jupiter, don't you? And they're on Ganymede, which obviously is a moon. It obviously is a moon of Jupiter, and of course we've inhabited there, and it's all different, like with like seas and stuff like that. And you see, and this woman has an ambition to go to Mars. She just wants to go and see like Mars and escape this life that she's found herself muddled into, this abusive relationship where, you know, she has to smuggle drugs for her boyfriend and stuff. And it's ends very tragically for her, obviously, you know. But even then, it's like you know we've only been introduced to these characters for about 20 minutes, but we feel for them.
Yeah, they're fully fleshed out.
They're fully fleshed out characters, and that's a really difficult thing to do, you know. But it manages to do it, you know, and that's what I loved. It's, you know, but that was such a golden time for stories, really. I mean, like the 90s was kind of. This is a point as well. I think you see it in a lot of like late 90s cartoons or animes or animated things in general. Wasn't that kind of like the golden era for like that sort of storytelling?
Yeah, like,
you know,
Evangelion was 95, 96, 97, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And that's a huge anime. That's probably something to get into one other time, because that's massive. And that had to do with like the guy who wrote it was kind of like sort of annoyed by how like politics were going in Japan, and it has an allegory of that into it. Yeah. As well as a fuckload of Christian allegory.
Yeah.
He only used it because he thought it looked cool.
Yeah, well,
everyone
it does.
in the West kind of read into it like, oh, what's all this like Christian stuff? And he's like, I just thought it looked cool.
Just looks cool. Yeah, well, it does. Hey, man, as someone who was raised in a Catholic family, you know, I can say it's cool imagery. You know?
But yeah, like around about late 90s to early 2000s, anime started to change a bit. It's like it gets a bit more digital. You can tell the other thing.
Oh, you can.
But around that area, there's some that people consider the best.
Yeah. Well,
like,
yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist for one, that was 2001, 2002. That is phenomenal. I've got a chest tattoo with it. I really want to get into, but yeah, around about that era, just there was so much good. There was
so much good stuff. Yeah, it was. And you really do get that feeling that like they really gave a shit about what they were doing.
Yeah,
you know, like there's a real like care to the storytelling and like the visuals, and it's like what a good film should be, really, you know. So yeah, fully fleshed out characters, and you know, there is like an overarching story, and you see that with like the introduction of certain characters.
Yeah.
You know, who stick around, you know, and they become part of the story. Even the dog, like the other world. Yeah, exactly. Like the dog was great. And that was one of the more lighter-hearted episodes, you know, which I did appreciate. It was like we're going like because the first episode was like, wow, here we are, but it was quite, you know, it was quite heavy.
It's a heavy.
It's a heavy ending, you know, and it's like so it perfectly sets the tone.
Yeah.
You know, and the pace of this universe and stuff like that. And yeah, but then the next episode was quite, you know, lighthearted and things like that. Very fun.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great.
Yeah, lighthearted, especially with like, and you're talking about how like the bounty hunters like Spike cares. It's when Iron starts falling off the thing and he just shouts "damn it" and has to go down to pick up Iron. He doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to. Yeah, but like again, it's like it's great moments like that where you're like, I mean, he probably doesn't like dogs. He probably doesn't like having pets. You believe him when he says it. But you get that. It's moments like that where it builds on his character. It's like this guy has a code of honor.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like he's not a bad guy. He's like oh, for God's sake, you know what I mean? It's like I've got to go and save this dog because I'm not going to let a dog die, am I? You know what I mean? That's
probably the reason why they've never made any money.
True, yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's like because they don't really succeed on their bounties, do they?
Not much.
Not a lot. No, it's you got because like the bloke in the first one, well, he dies.
Yeah.
And the second one,
Hakeem, he kind of turns himself, he crashes
into
the police station.
He gets captured by the police. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the whole thing with like the casino.
Yeah.
That episode, it kind of nothing comes of it really.
Yeah.
You know. And I liked that character who was introduced in that. She was quite fun.
Fair.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, she was really cool. I appreciate how like. You know, they have those like those certain character arcs, like character archetypes, really, where like Faye really likes to present herself as like this, you know, this really capable badass like bounty hunter person, really. Yeah. But really, she's really in over her head.
Yeah.
And she's just making it up as she goes along. And I like she's like stranded in this little ship, and she's just like, I'm just stranded. I'm just eating food because I've got nothing else to do. And then eventually a ship comes by, and it's like, and it just so happens to be them or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, pick me up," you know. And it's just like, "Oh, guys, you know, like, yeah, you know, I had it all planned all along." And it's like, you know, you just make it up as you go along. It's great. It was just great. It's just wonderful moments like that, you know.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I really did. I really did enjoy it. And because I finished on like the 5th episode, and there was that's when it really starts to amp up, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when you get to meet was it Vicious?
Yeah, Vicious.
And what relation is he again to Spike?
He was a partner to Spike when they were in the syndicate together, so like a mafia yakuza type thing.
Oh, okay, cool.
They were like best friends in the thing.
Yes.
And something happened, which I'll not say because you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
Something happened between them.
Yes, well, they're not friends anymore.
They had a big fight, like a big gunfight, and everyone thought Spike died because it shows in the opening thing where he like has the bomb thing and like.
Oh right, so that was an allusion to he's alleged death. Yeah. Okay, cool.
But yeah, that Vicious thing's great because no one's ever mentioned his name. No one's even talked about it. You only saw him a few things. But when he says the fear that he's called Vicious, her face drops and it's like, this guy's a bad guy. This guy's bad.
There's some weight
that she knows about. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great moments like that, isn't it? It's like that's another example. It's like without going, it's like, oh, this guy's a bad guy. You just need to show it with a simple reaction to a name.
Yeah.
And you immediately know the level of this guy's, well, who he is as a character, you know. And that's the thing as well. You were saying it's a great introduction to anime in general. I completely agree with that. But I actually think it's a great introduction, particularly for like young people if they want to get into like making films or like telling stories. This is a great example of how to tell stories. I think
kind of funny you say that because I've got my notes open while we do this. But Ryan Johnson, he once cited Bebop as inspiration for the visuals for Brick.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh brilliant! I've not seen Brick, but I know of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, he cited that Cowboy Bebop was one of his inspirations.
Yeah, I think, well, that's really cool. I mean, I think when you watch Cowboy Bebop, I think you get the impression that, well, first of all, excuse me again, it's clearly very, it has a lot of inspiration from, like, obviously, like, things in the past, like the old, like, TV serials.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, you know, obviously, like, Star Wars and, you know, like, Kurosawa. There's loads of that in there. And, like, obviously, Westerns, like, the good, the bad, like, Sergio Leone, like, big things in there. And even, like, when he was wearing the poncho,
yeah,
and the hat, you know, it's like clear nod to Clint Eastwood. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I love that. That's really great. But yeah, it's like stuff like that which I love.
Well, the director, Shinjiro Watanabe.
Say that again, sorry.
Shinjiro
Watanabe.
Yeah.
Shinjiro Watanabe.
I met him once.
Oh, how was he?
He's a great guy. He signed my thing that's behind here.
Incredible. Is that yeah? So just for context, Lee has a painting behind him.
It's a cloth of that came from a box set of Samurai Champloo. Which
oh,
is
cool.
One of his directions.
Right.
Yeah, I got him to sign it when he was at a con once.
Oh, amazing.
Up and framed. But yeah, each one of his works always has something to do with music. So Cowboy Bebop, jazz, all that. Yeah. Samurai Champloo was rap and hip hop.
Oh, cool. All right.
Cool. Another one of his works, Kids on the Slope, was like pianos and kids in the band, and Carol on Tuesday, which I think's on Netflix as well. That was about like how music brings people together.
Yeah, that's cool.
Might be a thing you like, actually. It's got a lot of references to like Bowie and all the classic music and stuff like that.
Well, that's an annoying thing about me. Every time I try to come up with a concept for a film, it's always music always claws its way back in. I mean, just for a little again, context, to use that wonderful word. When Lee and I were doing our dissertation film in university, the entire thing was about a guy who wanted to be a glam rock star in the modern day, and of course it was a heavy influence from like, you know, David Bowie. The film was even called Rebel Rebel.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it was just an entire thing about music. And even when I've come up with now today about like ideas later on for films that I want to do, it always comes in there some way of like, oh, he could be in a band, or this character, or she could be in a band, or this character could do this, or what. I'm like, no, do something else, you know. So heavily inspired by music, then he is.
Yeah,
that's great.
So there's a quote from him. This is probably like very bit butchered, but I've got He said he believes music's a universal language. That's why it's his main focus in his works.
I completely agree with him.
Yeah.
I completely agree with him. And it's I mean, it's like what I was saying before. When you watch the opening credits and you hear just the music,
yeah,
you immediately know what you're in for. You know, and it has that sense of excitement.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I think it's partly one of the reasons. I think, well, I mean, not to speak for you, Lee, but like when you go, like that's why you love soundtracks so much and go and see orchestras.
Yeah, Tank is song's called Tank, by the way.
Oh, okay, great.
It
yeah,
pops in the credits, but yeah, Tank is an amazing song, and how that music video like combines with like the opening credits combined to like everything is so in sync and just
completely
so stylish.
Yeah.
I mean, I did one of my university courses. I used Tank as a basis. I used a.
Oh, I think that's yes.
You would have seen it, yeah.
Yes, I think I have seen it. Yeah, absolutely.
I just pretty much recreated the opening, but with different shots and different like bits of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, tremendous.
Because Tank is just it's great opening, and it's the opening for the live action. They've got the music for it.
Brilliant, then that's great.
So it's gonna have something that feels right.
Yeah, I know. And that's the, I think something that's so lost today. You know, like great memorable music. You know, I mean, like not to you know, obviously not to like discredit the hard work that a lot of people do on these series, but like to talk about, for example, just because they're recent examples, I guess, of like science fiction shows, entertainment rather, or science fiction entertainment, like the Disney Plus shows for Marvel, like with like WandaVision and Loki and you know, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and even What If, which I've not seen. But I've seen all the other shows, and you know, themes. I don't remember a single one of them.
All seem to blend in.
That's exactly right.
The Avengers theme stands out to me. You can hear the Avengers.
Absolutely.
Spider-Man's I couldn't even think about right now.
Not
apart from like, you know, the 60s,
the 60s one, or even the Tobey Maguire one. You know what I mean? Like
even this Japanese 70s one.
Well, oh wow! I mean that. Oh, I've not seen that.
Oh, no, Spider-Man is great.
Yeah,
has a mech and everything.
Oh yes, I'm aware of that, which is just so wonderful, isn't it? It's a wonderful concept. Anyway, but the point standing is with it's an immediately a memorable theme.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as I heard, I was like, oh, this is great. I like this. I really like this a lot. And it's like, because you know, there was effort. You know, like there's effort put into it. You know, and it's like thought and let's do something really good. You know, that made me so happy, you know, and that's something that I real passionate about. Just you know, you can. I think it's a testament to anything creative, isn't it? It's like you can make a really great work of art, regardless of what it is, if you just put thought into it. And I know that sounds really simple and obvious, right?
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised. You know, just really think about it. Really think about what you want to do. You know, and you'd probably amaze yourself with the results. You know, got very deep.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, didn't it?
Cowboy Bebop's made you really deep.
I know. Who'd have thought?
Power of music.
God, I know. It is. It's the power of music. It brings it out of me. You know, I can't help it. You know. Yeah. Were you gonna say something to me there?
Yeah, when you were talking about music, I was going to talk about like the music director Yoko Kanno.
Oh, amazing.
She made a band called the Seatbelts, which perform Tank, the opening.
What a great name for a band.
Yeah, the
Seatbelts. Tremendous.
They've done a few things, and she's on board for the live action, so the music's going to still be
great.
They managed to get her on board.
That's good. Do you think it's fundamentally a good idea, the live action thing?
It's weird because I think when someone does a live action of an anime, it's like you kind of saying that the animation's not good enough.
Right.
You have to have a live action to enjoy it. You can't.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, it kind of bugs me a little bit, but it happens all the time, especially in Japan. Most anime is either turned into a live action bit or stage shows.
Yeah,
they've done stage shows for nearly everything.
I never really thought about that, but now that you've talked about it like that, I fully get what you mean. It's well because it's the same thing with like what Disney's doing with like a lot of their animated classics.
Yeah, they make them into films.
Why are they making them into live action films?
Well, in case of Disney, it's probably just to keep hold of licenses.
Keep hold of true, yes, but yes, absolutely. Yeah. But it's that same thing, isn't it? It's like, are we saying that Is it that thing of like reintroducing it to a new generation? I hate that bullshit excuse. And it's like, well, no, just show them the original film.
Yeah, because it still works.
Yeah, and it's still there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not disappeared. It's not gone.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, and what's great about, you know, animation, I think, is you can do a lot of things that they can't do in like live action films. And I'm not just talking about in the sense of you know, say, well, I suppose really with when you're doing a live film and you want to set it in, say, the depths of space, you need a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of effects and, you know, and what have you. But I mean, don't get me wrong, you need money to make a feature-length animated film, obviously, but the limit is your imagination.
Yeah.
You know, and you can draw it and you can create, and it's there. You know, so it's that sort of stuff. But you know, it's the same concept. Like it's just this is something wonderful about it, where like you can see like something that someone's literally drawn, handcrafted, and the expressions that you can get. You can't get them from like some of them from ordinary people, and even the voice acting as well. The art of voice acting from being I mean, I know that. I mean, like I know me and my impressions. I love doing it. You know, because you can just become somebody else and not have to worry about what you look like physically. You know, that barrier is gone. You know, and you kind of lose that magic, I think, when you adapt it to real people.
Yeah.
Because I think because I've seen the only one of the live action ones that I've seen is the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate it.
It wasn't really live action as well, though.
It wasn't.
Mostly CG, which is...
Exactly. It's like, so that's the thing. It's like, so we're replacing...
It's still voice actors.
It's still voice actors, exactly. You're still getting, what's his name? Ben Kingsley to voice, Bagara? What's the fucking leopard called?
Oh,
not leopard,
I haven't seen...
panther or whatever it is.
I know what you mean, but I haven't seen...
Jaguar, that's it.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jungle Book in years.
Whatever the Jaguar is called.
The really good thing about that, you've got
Bill Murray as Baloo.
No, Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken as
walk like you and talk like you too.
Like that's incredible, wasn't it? Because like when he just started singing, it was so out of place. It was like here's Christopher Walken voicing this this gigantic orangutan, who looks quite like monstrous. You know, and that's another thing. That the tone was a bit weird because it was like you're introducing like King Louis as like this big monstrous thing, you know, who emerges from the darkness. It like Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now. It's like he's Colonel Kurtz for some reason. But whereas in the original animation, it's, you know, it's jovial, it's joyous, it's, you know, he's got like this lust for life quality to him, you know. He's very reminiscent of like Louis Armstrong, that sort of thing, you know.
Why he's called King Louis.
That's why he's called King Louis, exactly, you know. But it's like, and then when Baloo joins in and he's dancing away with him, you know, because he can't resist the power of music. Comes back to the power of music. And yet in that live action version, CGI live action version, he goes crazy, tries to kill him, you know. And it's like, and then they have to fight like Baloo and the... I know we've gone way off topic again, but like Baloo and the Jaguar have to fight the monkeys. It's like, what's going on here, you know? But no, I do agree with your fundamental point. It's like, are we saying that by making these live action remakes of beloved animations, are we saying that they're not good enough?
Yeah.
That we have to do a live version of it, or is it just to make money? It's to make money. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's always that. But there's always a sort of stigma when it comes to animation in the West, really. Like most of our adult, quoting with fingers here, adult animation.
Yeah.
It's same generic stuff. Like Big Mouth and Family Guy and stuff. They all have the kind of same...
Even The Simpsons to some extent.
Same beats to it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think The Simpsons actually has an exception. I mean, like, I mean, it needs to stop.
I'm surprised. Yeah, it's still...
It needs to stop. It's still going, but like it's in its heyday. I mean, The Simpsons was a miraculous show about America, really.
Again, what I was saying last week about like anime being put in prime time slots.
Well, exactly.
Simpsons.
Well,
everyone watched it. It's in the prime time slot.
That's precisely true, and that I think that's another point as well. Like these animations, like if you treat them with like maturity and like actual care in the storytelling, and like let's actually tell a good story here with like not necessarily like darker themes or like just a bit more mature themes like Cowboy Bebop. You know, you get and even like The Simpsons, you can actually reach a wider audience.
Yeah.
Because it becomes accessible, and it's because like The Simpsons, as I was saying, is all about America.
Yeah.
It's just a big critique and satire about American life and culture and stuff like that, and the attitudes in the West and all that sort of thing. And with with Cowboy Bebop, I mean, you were mentioning there, like it brings in like some like political stuff from like Japan or whatever. And
that was Evangelion.
Oh, that was Evangelion. All
Yeah.
right, okay. Well, but actually, to be fair though, you can see that it's like you can see stuff like that from the West, like within Cowboy Bebop, like obviously obviously like bounty hunter and culture and like immigration and things like that was a big thing in there. Like that woman, like with the girlfriend and the drug dealer, they clearly are trying to do it to get a better life for themselves, but like resorting very heavily in drug addiction and crime and stuff, and that was really tragic. But also what I noticed in the other episode featuring the Space Warriors.
Yeah.
Wow. Bloody hell. That is I was like, this was made in 1998 and already this is still culturally significant.
Yeah, Space Peter.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like I mean that mad woman.
Yeah.
Laughing maniacally as our goons are killing everyone in the name of saving the environment. And I was like, well, for a start, you guys are colonizing other planets. I think we're beyond that point at the minute. Actually, we'll know that their thing was like extinct, like animals on the verge.
Animals that were going. Yeah.
Right, cool. I immediately thought of Extinction Rebellion. I immediately thought of that and all the controversy that they're like rising up and stuff like that. It's like these. I mean, I've got nothing against the entire sentiment, but I understand why some people are getting annoyed with them.
Yeah, because they're going about a really not violent, but like
not a great aggressive way of like stopping ambulances.
Yeah.
And other cars and things like that from getting to their destination. And it's like, it's like you're going to create more enemies than you want here.
Yeah.
And no one's going to listen to you if you're a nuisance. It's kind of the same thing in Cowboy Bebop. It's like, what do you aim to accomplish here by going around? And obviously I'm not saying that I'm not.
Britain's gonna get some like a retrovirus that makes people into monkeys.
Yes, exactly. I'm not saying that Extinction Rebellion are gonna get like some bio weapon to like destroy humanity or something to save the environment. I'm not suggesting that at all. Goodness me. But it's an exaggerated point though.
Yeah.
That gets across. It's like are people like this in real life? These environmental or people for animal welfare. These, I'm not going to use the word extremists because I don't think that's what they are. But people with great intentions who go a bit too far.
Yeah.
That muddle up the point. That discredit what they stand for, and by going about it in like these ill thought through, silly ways.
Well, that was the thing in Bebop. They were a legitimate group at one point.
They were. That's exactly it. Yeah. And that's exactly right. So they
straight off to the extremists with Big Mom.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's that same concept. All it takes is like one like loud voice to come through and sort of derail a movement.
Right though. It's like 21 years old and it hasn't changed.
Exactly. And you can even apply it, I suppose, to the Republican Party in America. Because here they are, like a party who were quite you can still take them seriously and things like that. But now, like ever since like Donald Trump got involved and like he was the front runner for the presidency, he wins the presidency, and now they want nothing to do with him because they've realized, holy God, he's totally destroyed our image as a party.
Yeah.
And it's the same concept. You see that in Cowboy Bebop, and I think they mentioned it in the newsroom. There was one character, like the main character who's like the news anchor. And he said that there was a woman who on it who was saying like, you identified yourself as a Republican. He said, and why would you do that? And he said, well, because I am one. He said, I am a Republican, but the only problem is nowadays I have to be homophobic. I have to not believe in science. I have to shout people down. I have to be all these evil things that my party has unfortunately become. And he said, but I believe in the old-fashioned standards of Republican, where like we would put like would believe in like economic prosperity and stuff like that, and it just reminded me so much of that when I was watching Cowboy Bebop, like with this thing of like movements which had like they have like a defined goal, they have a defined way of thinking that would set people apart from the others, But then all it takes is one bad thing to happen where you get some nut who comes in and takes it over and says, we should be doing this and we should be doing that, because they may have lost their way a little bit, or they shout loud enough, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, I'm not saying that Extinction Rebellion will become this, and I'm not saying that the Republican Party have become this. Well, maybe, I don't know. But you become, like, you turn into a bunch of lunatics.
Never thought Cowboy Bebop would get you to rant about it.
Well, it's gateways, man. You know what I mean? That's the power of this show. It opens doors.
I'm gonna go back a bit now. After this rant, we were talking about like voice acting and stuff.
Yes,
this came at a time where some voice acting around for like English dubs were not the best. There wasn't much care in like how voices were like directed.
You could say that now, I suppose.
But yeah, there wasn't much care in how voices were done. Mostly like people had independent scripts where they would read off the line, but it has no context to what's going on. So it sounds like thing. But there was a lot of care into this, you can tell.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
And this is, I think, considered mostly that this English dub's better than what people consider like Japanese dub.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
People prefer the English dub a lot more to
the Japanese.
Yeah.
Was it that? I'm guessing the original dub.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. It was like, I mean, it is tremendous.
Oh yeah, the voice acting's a bit cheesy in places, but that's just voice acting in general.
It's the nature of it, really. Sometimes you can't escape that. Where you can, I think. Well, this is it. You can get away with like overacting in animation. Than you can in like say Squid Game. If you're the English dub. The English dub of Squid Game is just monstrous.
I'm going to say a thing now which is going to probably annoy a lot of people. You ready?
I'm ready, Lee. I have no idea what you're going to say.
Doesn't matter if you watch it dubbed or subbed. It's just clout at the end of the day.
Oh, very, very.
I've had a couple of people ask me before, say, I'm going to watch this anime. Should I watch it like subbed or dubbed? I'm like, just watch whatever.
Just watch whatever,
It's clout. If you want to watch it in Japanese, do it. I'll watch most of mine in Japanese. I don't care. But I don't know. It just feels right to me because I've watched a lot of them in Japanese.
Yeah, well, if the storytelling... This is what it comes back to. If the storytelling is good enough, you will know what's going on.
Yeah.
Regardless of what.
Because there's a lot of debate about dubs versus subs. It has been for years in anime.
Just in anime?
Mostly, yeah, because it's purist. If you want to watch a Japanese, because it's purist, that's how it came out. It's sort of purist view.
I don't think
English dubs butcher stuff, because localization bullshit like that. But this came at a time when most way to get anime was watching 3 parts on YouTube. And they were like fan subtitles, so they were like literal translations, which sometimes didn't make sense. And now anime is a fuck ton more popular than it used to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Like insanely popular. They've got actual like localizers and do stuff to like make it more coherent. It annoyed a lot of people who were like purist.
Yeah.
Still people go on a day talk about how like English voice actors are the worst. It's stupid.
I mean, it is. I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it?
If you
really?
enjoy it, you enjoy it.
Exactly. I mean, you're still understanding what's going on. And it's still getting the point across.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, shouldn't we be just happy that everyone can understand it?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who like gatekeep. Like, you've got to watch it this certain way.
I know.
And I've totally been the opposite of a gatekeeper. I want to watch something, no matter how it's going. Like, people watch this.
Yeah, well, I'm not for it.
I've got you to do this shit.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's exactly. I mean, I would never have like come across it.
Yeah.
Had it not been like suggested through. Yourself, obviously, but it's like, I found, obviously, it's on Netflix and everything, which is great. Only 10 episodes, though.
That's weird.
I mean, well, I think, when I looked at it, it said 1 season.
Yeah.
And I had a look at how many they're on, and I could only see about 10 episodes. Now,
strange.
That might just be me being not realizing that the rest of them are on there.
Yeah, because there's 26.
Yeah, because there's meant to be 26, isn't there? And there only is 1 season, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, so
1 season of film.
Either I have. Oh, is it a film?
Yeah.
Oh, marvelous! I'll have to check that out. But I couldn't. I mean, unless I missed a couple. Let me know. In however you want to communicate with us, whether it's on Twitter or comments, dare I say. Whatever.
My friend John Pod.
There we are. Let me know if I'm just being stupid. If I've completely missed the remaining 16 episodes that I've just not seen on Netflix.
I can't say because I've got DVD of it, so I've been watching my old DVD.
Very good physical
I've
media.
got a good story about that.
Oh, have you?
So, this is like when I started getting anime,
Yeah.
buying stuff because anime is expensive.
Is it
I paid £50 for that.
£50?
Yeah.
Jesus. And that's
Anime-
not an import or anything.
No.
Wow.
Imports were cheaper at one point.
Christ.
Anime for some reason is really expensive in the UK to get, like legit.
That's very strange.
That's why a lot of people stream it, like Crunchyroll and stuff like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I got that. This is like what, 2009, 2010 when I bought it.
Yeah.
I had not watched a single episode.
Wow.
But the power of people saying this anime is so good, I bought it
Mm-hmm.
off a whim. I paid £50 on this,
God, 50 quid.
and I don't regret.
You don't regret it at all.
I love Bebop. I want to ask you something about this because you're watching the Netflix thing. End credits. Does it have the translation for the song?
I don't think so.
No, it didn't.
I'm not sure.
'Cause,
I mean, obviously, well, no, actually, I don't think it did because a lot of because the credits are in Japanese.
Yeah, but didn't it have like the subtitles for this?
I don't recall them
Oh.
having on there. No.
Because there was a big thing around about like when fan dubs were a thing
Mm-hmm.
and like fan subs and oop, my phone just beeped. Why are you beeping? I've turned you off.
Classic beep from Lee's phone.
Yeah.
It's a reminder. It's someone telling you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
That
Oh, when I switched on for that for a thing before, it just switched itself off mute. Bad of me.
the funny things, aren't they, phones?
What was I saying?
You were talking about the fan dubs. Of,
Oh yeah, so like
yes.
fan dubs and fan subs back in the day, they used to have like because animes like this where they'll have an opening song for it's like 90 seconds,
Yeah.
like Bebop's Tank's 90 seconds,
Mm.
and normally it's a band from like it's a band or a musician from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Their single goes into the opening,
Yeah. Sure.
and normally they'll have like for the fans they used to do karaoke with it, so it used to pop up with like the song and like pop up with it.
Okay. Cool.
And it became a thing for some of the DVDs around about that time. So like my DVDs go from you'll watch the end credits and it'll have just the subtitles for each line of Real Folk Blues in
Mhm.
English.
Yeah.
And then the next episode it'll be in Japanese. They'll just have the romanji for it,
All right.
so you know what this like how it's been said.
Yeah.
It was
That's
like a really cool little thing they used to do. But I
Yeah.
think they've stopped doing that now for like DVDs and stuff.
Yeah. Well, they must have because obviously, as I
What
say,
about Netflix, yeah.
not on like on Netflix. But it was no, that didn't come across at all. But you know, as I say though, it's like it's that thing of if it's just a well told enough thing and well crafted enough, the whole thing about English versus Japanese doesn't really matter really
Yeah.
in a sense.
Like I said, it did at one point during in the early days when dubs were so bad.
Dubs were terrible.
That's
yeah.
when you had to find like anime on a video.
Yeah,
random
absolutely.
place.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's always been strange dubs, isn't it? Really, I mean, like the whole thing about, like, to the point where it was like, parodied a lot by people. I mean, like when you look, I mean, I'm talking like live action stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see like the Bruce Lee movies,
Yeah, where like they'll say one thing in the like Chinese like language and then
the lips are still moving.
yeah, the line just still going.
The line is still going, yeah, exactly, and it's the same thing. Well, I think the first proper exposure to that, I think for a lot of people, was the spaghetti westerns when they were being showed in like in places like America and Europe and stuff, where the actors are clearly like Mexican or Italian or whatever, and they're speaking in their own language because they can't speak English.
Yeah.
And then and of course their characters are dubbed. It's like that in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
It took me ages to realize why it was called spaghetti western.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've sometimes mentioned when we were in uni when someone said, yeah, it's spaghetti western because they're filmed in Italy for the most part.
Yeah, they are.
It's
yeah.
like, okay, slightly racist
It's
undertone, but
yeah,
yes.
exactly. It's a slightly racist like thing, but it makes sense. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
Like it's like these terms are just. It's like, oh, you roll your eyes at it like in a modern context, but it's like, but it makes sense why they're called that, I guess.
I never knew. I just accepted it. I was like, yeah, it's a spaghetti western.
It's a spaghetti western, yeah, exactly, yeah. Because they're like, it's like that scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where Al Pacino was saying to Leonardo DiCaprio, was like, if you want to save your career, you've got to go to you have to go to Rome and make westerns, and he did, and of course, it's like that's what a lot of like that's where a lot of actors like obviously like found their fame and things like that. People like obviously like John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, of which of course, and it's again when we mention westerns, that was the biggest influences.
Oh yeah.
In Cowboy Bebop, and even the title and things like that, because like they're just so timeless. in their storytelling. You know, it's like, because I love stories of like one person going on like a hunt for like another one.
Yeah.
You know, like whether it's bounty stories and like westerns and things like that. You know, even like Apocalypse Now, which is my favorite movie of all time. You know, I just love stories like that. You know, because you learn so much about the characters when characters go on like a physical journey. You learn they go on a metaphorical journey.
Yeah.
And you learn so much about them just from their state of being, through how they interact with the world, how they interact with other people, what they think of other people, you know, and stuff like that, and how they deal with certain situations and all that. And I feel like, and obviously I've got much more of Cowboy Bebop to watch, but I feel like that's the impression I get from it, you know.
I think you just answered my final question as well.
Oh, go on then.
You know, at the end of every week, I'm going to ask the same question: would you continue?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank
God. I thoroughly plan to watch the remainder of the episodes are on Netflix, and
hopefully the lots of that.
And hopefully they're all there.
I know they're supposed to be putting it all on by time today when the live action comes on, they should all be on.
Yeah.
Now, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I absolutely plan to watch the rest of it.
Oh, good. So I don't have to talk spoilers, so I'll keep it.
Yeah, yeah. I plan to watch the rest of it. I thoroughly enjoyed my exposure to those first 5 episodes. I thought they were great. And if anyone I recommend them actually to if you're really into like film noir and westerns and just great little adventure stories and things like that. Check it out because they're really great, you know, and they're really imaginative. It's really cool. And it's a great little introduction to anime if you're a bit intimidated by that whole thing. If you're interested in checking out, I mean, I have to clarify, I was never interested in checking out anime.
Yeah.
You know, but
you never had any interest.
I never had any interest at all.
I
but
barely talked about it in uni because I knew none of you.
but honestly, just as a series, just as an independent piece, regardless if it's anime or not, well worth checking out because it's really great. So yeah. I will be continuing watching it.
I hope the live action one's going to be fun.
Yeah, and once I've finished it, I will be checking out the live action version, just out of curiosity.
Like I said, from that first trailer, it looks like the first 5 episodes are in.
Yeah. I'll be immediately, once we're finished here, I'll be immediately checking out the trailer. So you know, so we'll be checking that out.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I think I about wrapped it up in this one since I asked you my final question. Unless you got more things to say about.
Well, I got there before. I got there. I was that excited to speak.
Yeah,
as we established at the beginning. No, that's no, absolutely not. I mean, it'll probably come up later on, talking about this show. I mean, we might even have to talk about the live action version.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at one point.
But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will be watching it.
Cool.
I'm watching the rest of it.
So you want to have a hint for next week?
Oh, go on then.
So you remember Melt and World Is Mine and stuff?
Oh, how could I forget?
Yeah, the guy who wrote that, his 2 bands that he made after.
Okay, right.
Which I guarantee you're going to at least like one song, because I absolutely adore these bands.
Oh, at least one song. That's all right. Hold out
I
on
hope
that.
you like more, but honestly, I love this.
Well, we will find out.
Yes,
we will find out. So, oh goodness me.
So until next time, you can follow us at My Friend John Pod on Twitter, my own personal Twitter, Blank the Mage,
and my personal Instagram, if you're interested, is The New Wave.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Right, so until next time, guys.
Yes, until next time, we'll see you later on, and keep on rocking and a rolling.
Goodbye, Space Cowboys.